Welcome anyone to my YouTube channel. This is Everett, aka Two Beasts to Kill You, aka the Beast with the Least. And for today's video, I'm going to be talking about Elden Ring Nightreign, the newest video game from Fromsoftware, makers of your favorite kill you until you want to kill yourself, but then you win eventually, and then you're happy and ready to do it all over again style video game. You know, Souls-likes. The favorite. You know, I have so many different ways I could say that. I'm just gonna go with that one, and that's it. All right. Before we get into the video and my thoughts on the video game, remember to like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good stuff. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get right into it. So you know, the quick overview, or not overview, quick thoughts. I love the game. As long as you have friends playing. We'll go with that caveat. The game is great. It feels like Elden Ring, you know, except it has the extra added run with the right or left stick. If you're playing on console. Yes, I know, console pleb. Other than that, you know, it feels like Elden Ring. The only problem is, you know, if you don't have friends, it can be a little tough, or, you know, rough, however you want to say it. But I'll get into that a little bit later. I'll get into a little bit more depth. But yeah, overall, very much enjoy the game. Not as much as obviously Elden Ring or Shadow of the Erd Tree. But yes, this is just another home run by FromSoft. But all right, let's go ahead and get into the wider thoughts on the whole video game. So, Nightreign obviously is not your typical Souls-like from FromSoft. This is more of a multiplayer game. This is specifically multiplayer. Now, they have made it easier. There was a title update that made it a little bit easier for someone who wants to solo these the levels in the game, because this is more of a level-based game. It's not just a world where you're running through. You actually choose which boss you want to go after and then proceed to go throughout the run. So yeah, you can solo it. They've made it easier to do that, but this game is made specifically in mind to be a 3-player online, like, co-op game. Just, that's what it's made for. And that's even that the way these bosses specific to this game are clearly designed with that in mind. So the way this game works is you choose a boss. The first one you can choose is Gladius. It's a 3-headed wolf that can split into 3 different bosses, or 3 different enemies after a while. It's usually a second phase. Every boss has a second phase. Some are a little bit more second phasey than others. Others just seem like they just kind of get a little bit more aggressive. But that's the first boss you can choose. After that, then the game opens up to the rest. There's a dragon called the Gaping Jaw. The sentient pest, which is Noster. The auger fight, which, you know, I'm not really remembering the names of these bosses, but there's the Equilibrious beast level, the Dark Drift Knight, and Fisher in the Fog. After you beat those bosses, you can play the final boss of the game, which I'll leave for, you know, you to discover on your own. So, and as I said, this game is a co-op game. So when you load into a game, you either matchmake with 2 other people or 1 other person if it's you and a buddy. But it's always going to matchmake. You can't do duos, which I guess they have said they're looking into adding just the duos. But this is designed for 3 people, so there's no duos as of yet. Probably will get added. So the game will matchmake to at least have 3 people when it's matchmaking. And it goes in what they call days for the expeditions. In day 1, you drop into the map, kind of, you know, Battle Royale style, actually, and run around the map either fighting enemies, fighting mini bosses, or collecting flask charges, or just little secrets around the map until the ring closes. Essentially, they call it the Nightreign, or the rain. And the map will close to a specific spot, and then you fight a main boss for day 1. You beat that boss, you do it again for day 2. Start it all over, run around the map, then do it again with another boss, and then if you are able to beat the second boss, then you just get transported to the final boss room for that expedition to then proceed to fight that boss. And that is the same for pretty much all of it, all the bosses. Doesn't matter if you're fighting the Fissure in the Fog boss or the Tricephalos? We'll say Gaping Jaw, or whatever other one. That is the structure of the game. Every so often, though, you can get this called Shifting Earth. It's just different layers to the map where you can go down to a lava area. There's a like a secret city one. There's just different ones to go ahead and traverse. But you do have to beat the first boss before you can start doing that. Now, as for the map relatively stays the same. It doesn't change very much. Some placements will get changed for different things. Like, okay, you want to get a flask charge. There's it looks like a golden church on the map. Maybe there's one, different ones here. But it does look like it's not just randomized in that it's completely randomized. It's that, it's going to choose this template or this template for this run. So it does change, but it's not in that it's completely like just random and everywhere. You'll notice it after a while. You're like, okay, these two churches are together, and that on the way to these two churches, there's also these encampments and this little mini castle that you would go along as you're going along. You'll hit. You eventually kind of learn the structures of these maps. And so, there's not a lot of... Because there's not a lot of randomization, maybe that can take away from the fun. It hasn't for me. But it also leads to... That why I think I enjoy it. It leads to, planning out how we're going to maximize this run. So then we can go ahead and get what we need and level up high enough to then beat the final boss for the expedition. And as I said, the bosses, the way they're designed, they're for 3 players. These bosses are tough. They have some insane area of effect attacks. It's just some insane attacks. Again, like Gladius, the first boss, can split apart into 3. There's the Gaping Jaw boss, which I swear, he has an attack where he grabs you with his mouth, and he'll just chew you until you basically die. I play as Iron Eye. I'll get into the characters in a bit. And so Iron Eye tends to die a little bit more. I think Iron Eye has less health than most other characters. So it can depend. Like maybe if you're playing as Executor. I've heard it said different ways. I'll call it Executor. That character tends to survive more often, but I swear that Gaping Jaw can attack really quickly and in quick succession, at least 3-4 times with his bite until he gets tired out. These bosses are meant to be tough. Even with 3 people, they don't go down very easily. But that's what makes the game fun, because it isn't just going around, get some weapons, and then fight a boss. There is also a strategic element to which character you're playing, because there are 8 characters, 2 of which, so spoilers, because 2 of them you do have to unlock. I'll get those 2 out of the way. The 2 that you have to unlock. There's the Duchess character, which is basically like an assassin. And each character has 3 abilities. There's a passive ability, an activated ability, and an ultimate ability. So the passive ability for Duchess is able to just dodge a lot better than other characters. She more... if you played Bloodborne, similar to that. Her activated ability is restage, which when you attack, if you activate it, it just basically does another set of those attacks. Good for trying to get as much damage as possible. And then the ultimate would be, she just makes you and yourself and your teammates invisible. And then there's, for the other one, it's the Revenant character. That's the other unlockable character. Her passive is she'll summon ghosts of enemies that you kill. Character skill is the activated ability. The character skill is that she can summon 3 different characters to fight. A smaller character that just has like a rapier attack. Then there's one of those pumpkin head characters that she can summon as like a bigger one, and then the other one would be one of those giant skeletons that stay in place. A giant skeleton that stays in place and just slams down the enemy and can do a yell attack and everything. Her ultimate ability is, it says it makes nearby allies immortal. I don't really think it does that. I think it's more just it's better to revive everyone. Because that's the way I've seen it used, and that's the way I've used it, is to just revive when my 2 teammates are down. So the starting characters, the 6 characters that are in the game from the beginning, there's Wilder. His passive is that he can dodge right before he dies. So if you're very low on health, it'll auto dodge for you. Or not auto dodge, but almost an auto dodge, so you don't get downed. You have the claw shot, which could either bring smaller enemies to you or you go toward an enemy. And the ultimate is just this one. Very I wish, because Wilder's clearly supposed to be the character that is more all around. So his ultimate I kind of don't like. You have to be up close, and he just basically does an explosion attack. Then there's the Guardian, this bird-like creature. His passive ability is that he's able to guard a lot better than other characters. His poise doesn't break as easily. His character skill is he creates a whirlwind around himself that can lift up enemies, so you can knock them down, start attacking them. Then his ultimate is he'll fly up in the air and just slam down on the ground and do some AoE damage. Then we have the Raider, who has his passive is that as he's taking damage, he gets retaliate, which is his character skill. These go in hand in hand. As he's taking more damage, his retaliate becomes better when you use it, which would be his character skill. So you want to try and take as much damage as possible. He is supposed to be the tank of this whatever group you're playing. So yeah. And then his ultimate is he summons a giant stone structure. It's a totem into the field. It can throw enemies up in the sky or block damage. It's very useful. Or you can, if there's one of your teammates is down, you could put them, summon it where it'll lift them up off the ground, so you have some time to try and get your teammate out of his down state before the bosses attack, or just enemies in general. Then there's the this next one, the Recluse, which if you've been on the internet, you've probably seen a lot of Rule 34 of. But yeah, this one I haven't played as much, so if I'm getting stuff wrong with her abilities, sorry. But her passive ability is that she discovers affinity residues that can be collected to replenish FP. I have not seen that enough to know exactly what it does, but yeah. Then there's the magic cocktail, which is when you use it, you will gain different, either fire or lightning, little on the bottom of the screen. You'll see just little symbols that you've collected up to 3. So it's, it could be the fire or lightning or whatever. And then when you use that ability, then she actually attacks with that element. Then there's the Soul Blood song, which I believe it does do damage, because it looks like it does do damage, but it's an AoE thing, an AoE attack that then also marks the enemies a little bit. And it's a little like, it looks like blood vines, even if you've used like the Briars of Blood attack in Elden Ring. And then we have the Executor, which his passive is that he just receives, a little bit of a buff after, getting poisoned or something like that. The character skill, which then, which is something I didn't really use a lot, because it basically turns the character into a Sekiro character. That's what everyone uses it to best describe that. You just are holding his sword and you can parry pretty much like most anything. That's basically all it's really for. Then the ultimate is that he turns into a giant fucking wolf, wolf we'll say, and you can attack, which I do like. Pro tip: you're using that character, and just before you see that you're about to transform back into a regular person, press the left trigger or whatever that is equivalent to however you're playing, and he'll do a big swipe attack, and that every time you do that attack, he goes back to being a regular person. So you want to do that to try and do some extra damage. Then there's the last character that I play as, Iron Eye. His passive is that your items that you're looking for, you have the ability to, or not ability, it's passive ability, obviously, to find better items. Then his character skill is you will basically slide through an enemy, but that creates, it's supposed to create a weakness on them, but I think it just makes them a little weaker to damage. That's the way it seemingly works. And then there's the ultimate, which is just a giant arrow shot that has an AoE as well effect that can just devastate a lot of smaller enemies, but also do enough damage, a good amount of damage on the bosses. So yeah, as I said, the way the game works is when you start your expedition, you go through the map and do all that. But there's also when you don't just die. You get put in a down state, and the way to get brought back is that your teammates have to they just have to attack you. So when you get down the first time, you just have about a third. There's a little circle that will appear over you, and it's filled to a third. When you get down again, now it's 2/3. When you get down again, it's 3/3. After that, it's 3/3 the entire time. Obviously, the more you get down, the harder it is to be picked back up. You can die if all 3 of you are down, or another bar that's on the outside of that does go all the way down. You can once you die, you can pick up your lost runes, souls, whatever you call it, but you do lose a level if you've leveled up. Also, this game is, more of a roguelite. I'm still not sure how you would say it exactly. In that every run is, what you pick up, you don't get to keep. Every run is, you start over from base character. But you do have the relics, the relic system. Each character has, at least so far from what I've unlocked, 2 different their chalices, goblets, all that stuff, where you add 3 relics that can give you different things, where either you can get more runes, your character can cause knockback or knockdown a little bit easier, you can get knocked down, it's a little harder to knock you down, you can have different status effects on your weapons, things like that. There's a lot of different effects from these relics that you just have to pay attention to and get a good combination. I like a combination of with Iron Eye that blood loss, collect extra runes, and more health. So yeah, there's not a lot to the game in that the systems are, this is what you have. There's the relic system, there's the different characters, you go on the map and fight a boss. Which, this game is a $40 game, makes sense. This is not meant to be some full-fledged, like, oh, this is the new FromSoft game. This is clearly a side game, a smaller scale game that was like, here's something. It was probably not even meant to be an Elden Ring game. It was just a game that they were making, and then they slapped the Elden Ring name on it. But like I said, I very much enjoyed it. One of the best things about this game, actually, is that they've brought in a lot of the Dark Souls bosses. So, obviously, if you've seen the trailer, they have the Nameless King, they have the Centipede Demon, the Smelter Demon, Ancient Dragon, so from Elden Ring and Dark Souls games, a lot of the bosses show up in this. At least, not they're not the main bosses, but the day bosses and all that stuff. So yeah, one more thing actually, yeah. Each character has what they called remembrances. So when you do these things, there's little things that you go on the round table, little hub before you actually go out on your expedition, to just do these little things and then actually go out into the world and either fight a boss. Well, it's typically fight an enemy, and collect something. Those typically will give you powerful relics, at least specific for the character that you're doing the remembrance for. But other than that, there's not much else that I can really tell you about the game, because like I said, it is a very it's minimalistic in what it has, because it's meant to just be played over and over and over. But if you like Elden Ring, if you like Dark Souls, if you like FromSoft combat, this game is very fun, and as I have been doing, you can get a lot of hours of fun out of this game. Put a lot of time into this game. Again, the caveat: if you do not have friends, that's where issues can arise. Again, you can play solo, so if you play by yourself, then you're fine. Maybe you are just that good. But if you plan to play with people, that's where the problems can arise. Or just that one issue I have with the game. When I play with my friends, nothing. We do our run, we either win or we don't. A lot of losing, but that's FromSoft games. When you're playing with randoms, because there's no voice chat, there's only a pinging system. A lot of times I have come across teams, or random teammates, that when I ping something, they'll go off in a completely other direction just to do their own thing, and that has happened a lot. It's probably a small gripe to say in the grand scheme of things, because this game is meant to be played over and over and over, and eventually it kind of doesn't even matter if you get good enough relics. You can overcome that, as I've done at least with the second boss. You can overcome it. But yeah, it can get annoying, to say the least, that you're trying to do a run and you want to plan it out and you want to have an efficient run, but then you just have a teammate that's just like, I'm gonna go over here instead, and they're gonna do their own thing. So they've said, I'm pretty sure I've seen that they said they're looking into adding voice chat. So hopefully that's something that does get added. I know that voice chat, for a lot of companies, they don't want to really deal with it too much, because it can be quote unquote toxic online. But it's probably something they'll need to add, but yeah. Other than that, yeah, I can't think of much else to add. I like this game a lot. If I were to rate it, I'd give it a 7.5, maybe an 8 out of 10. Very recommended to play if you just like to play Elden Ring or FromSoft games and you just want to play their combat. So I'll go ahead and end my thoughts right there. If you like what I do on this channel, like, subscribe, comment, share, all that good shit. And until next time, I'll catch you later.